Let's try it now. If I ever needed power, I'm feeling it right now. It is so good to be with you this morning. I'm the minister here. It is an honor to serve this congregation, and I welcome faces that I've seen week after week and those who are new. And I want to thank the choir who recently went on a retreat and practiced, and I understand you just sang your hearts out.
We did.
There's lots coming up with the choir. Some of the things happening are a combined choir service that will happen in Athens next week. So myself and the choir will go and speak with the minister in Athens, and the combined choir will be about 65 or 70 voices. It'll be amazing. And then the week after, Athens will come here and they will bless us with their music. So this room will be abound with music. So put that on your calendar. There's also an installation for my settled ministry here on March 1st, and they will be singing some of my favorite music, and I'm really looking forward to that day. Thank you, Bruce, for the beautiful piano music, as always. I thank Michael Lukens, our Director of Family Ministry, and our storyteller today, Jeffrey Jacoby, and as always, our AV team up there putting it all together. It's been a very full couple of weeks with lots of changes. For myself, some sleepless hours at night, some worries about my friends' jobs and the bodily safety of those who are BIPOC, black and brown bodies, and trans bodies. And I want you to know in this space, your life matters. Your bodies matter. I was thinking about what to say today, and I know that today is a day when Sunday morning comes along. I get to be with community and with people who share the values and the dreams for the world. I know that our core values, those things that are most important for us and for our children and for all of the world's children, is what makes us a community. And I get to be here with you, spreading kindness through our words and our actions and just our very being together. May we lift each other up with our hugs and our smiles and our dreams and our visions for what we hope the world could be. May this be a Sunday where we can be together, grounded in love. If you are joining us for the first time, welcome. If you are online and wanting to know who we are and what we are all about, know that anytime you choose to come through the doors of this building, you will be welcomed. We have coffee and social hour in our fellowship hall. If you go down this hall, it's in the room right behind our sanctuary, and we look forward to getting to know you more. And now, I want to tell you that this service is put together by the Social Justice Leadership Team, and we have so many different voices today, and I am their worship associate, so I'm going to step aside and let them do their thing.
Good morning. I am Sally Riddle, and I am on the Social Justice Leadership Team. Now we pause to light our chalice as a symbol of our shared Unitarian Universalist faith, with these words by Maya Angelou. Thank you, Gail Chadbourne, for lighting our chalice. The onus is upon us, all to work to improve the human condition. Perform good deeds, for that is truly the way to battle the forces of entropy that are at work in our world. The composite of all our efforts can have an effect. Good done anywhere is good done everywhere. When we unite in purpose, we are greater than the sum of our parts. Now, in the spirit of love and the beloved community, let's share in our congregational affirmation. We need not think alike to love alike. Now let's greet and welcome each other to this new day. Those in the sanctuary, feel free to move around to offer greetings, and those online, please feel free to use the chat to introduce yourself. Thank you.
Hey, I rang the bell, everybody. Okay, I was asked to do that. Clearly, I failed today.
Okay. Good morning. My name is Jennifer Prisbilla, and I'm on the Social Justice Leadership Team. Emerson's Social Justice Group is comprised of the Social Justice Leadership Team and Justice Ministry Action Network. Based on a deep love of humanity and the earth, our Unitarian Universalist faith calls us to act for justice, equity, and compassion. Through our many justice programs and activities, Emerson works to raise awareness and to advocate for and partner with people in our community who face injustice. We strive to understand systems of oppression and work to make changes at the societal level. We invite you to engage in this work with us. The purpose of the Social Justice Leadership Team is to organize and prioritize Emerson's social justice work and education in light of our Unitarian Universalist faith with an understanding of the root cause of white supremacy culture and social inequities. We partner with others in the work towards creating the beloved community. The leadership team provides structure and opportunities for Emerson congregates to participate in social justice. Because people are at different stages of their lives and have differing capabilities and the kind of social action they can engage in, the SJLT tries to offer various opportunities. The Justice Ministry Action Network is comprised of individuals who are willing to jump in periodically as needs arise. Needed actions are posted in this group on Realm, and folks jump in as they can to respond to these calls of action. In celebration, let's join together in song, which is number 121 in the Gray Hymnal. Please rise in voice or in body as we join together in song.
Peggy? There you are. My name is Rebecca Carlson, and I'm on the Social Justice Leadership Team. Now we pause and reflect on matters of the heart. Thank you, Peggy Gastright, for placing the stones. For this morning's ritual, we will have water and we have river stones. The stones are smooth and the stones have weight. They're indicative of both life's pleasures and times of ease, as well as life's burdens and times of heaviness. The water receives these stones with ease and calmness. Each week, you are invited to write a joy, sorrow, or concern in this book or email it to pastoralcare@emersonuu.org to be read. If you're online, you may write your joy, sorrow, or concern in the chat. We invite you to recreate this ritual at home. You place a stone in a bowl of water to honor what is in your heart. We begin by placing 4 stones in honor of the Cherokee and Muskogee nations of indigenous peoples who lived here before us. For those wrongly enslaved here who labored on this land. For all those killed or injured by gun violence in this country. And for all those hurting in current conflicts and wars that rage across our globe. Within our community, we share that from the Social Justice Leadership Team, we are proud that our UUA joined 26 other religious organizations in a lawsuit against the federal government opposing the Trump administration's allowing ICE to raid churches and schools. We share a concern. With great sorrow, we hear that Barb Collier's daughter, Stephanie Renee Collier, unexpectedly passed away. Barb asks that in lieu of flowers, please donate to the American Heart Association. And then from Liam Johns, I am so excited that it is my 2nd birthday tomorrow. I make my mommy and daddy so proud. In thankful awareness, let's say the Buddhist prayer of loving kindness. Please share these words with me. May we all be filled with loving kindness. May we all be free from harm and suffering. May we all be well in body, heart, and mind. May we all be at peace. Blessed be.
Good morning. I'm Mary Frances Engel, and I was lucky enough to join this community about a month ago. One way we put our prayer of loving kindness into action is by partnering with other organizations who work to bring love, kindness, and justice to the world. Our Share the Basket partner for February is the Refugee Women's Network, located in Decatur. The Refugee Women's Network is Georgia's unique nonprofit founded by and for women. Today, we are fortunate to have with us Awaz Jabari and Temple Moore from the Refugee Women's Network, and they will share a little about this organization.
Good morning. Good morning. And thank you so much for having us here and for sharing your space. I am Awaz Jabari from Refugee Women's Network. I'm originally from Kurdistan and have been with the organization about 7 years. So Refugee Women Network is an organization that we're saying women, but we do help the whole family. And we are a non-resettlement organization. So the refugees, if you know the process of becoming a refugee and come to United States, many families stayed in different countries, sometimes for 12, 13, 15 years. Sometimes they stay in refugee camps for many, many years, like a whole generation will be growing up in the camp. They come here through a very tight process overseas. So when they come here, they have already done background check, they have already got all their immunization, they're legally in the United States, brought by the government. So the resettlement agency receives them, work with them for 3 months. After that, the family needs to be self-sufficient. But within 3 months, not speaking the language, it's difficult for families to start their life. So that's where we come in and help them with many different programs with that process of becoming self-sufficient. We have a social adjustment program, economic empowerment, which is employment, skills training, helping them with starting their business. Many refugees come with a lot of skills. They come with high educational background. Some of them are doctors, engineers. So we help some who want to go back to school and do the process of evaluation. We will do all that. And then we have a health promotion program. And Chef's Club, Chef's Program, which is a newer program to RWN, where we help women to become a business owner through culinary, like through cooking. And then we have youth program. We have 2 youth program. One we work one-on-one with the youth, and the other one we work as an after school, a different school, to help the children catch up with the homeworks and learn the language. We do have English classes for women, and we are starting another English class soon to work to more focus on women who wants to have their business.
I have to lift this a little. Hi, y'all. My name is Temple Moore, and I'm a program director of civic engagement and community health at Refugee Women's Network. Thank you all so much for having us here. This is such a warm, inviting, inclusive environment, and I'm really so touched already. And it seems, of course, like we're preaching to the choir. I've never really been able to say it like that. When we say that now more than ever, we need to be interacting and building community and breaking down division. And so we're excited to be here. And we have a whole hour later to tell you more. And so I'll cut us there, but I will say, please do come to the service reflections so we can talk more. I've never felt in my life, I'm born and raised in Atlanta and have the fortune of working with mostly women that are not originally from here, but there's never been a time where I felt I could learn from them more than women who have overcome so much, who thrive, who find joy and find community despite oppression and despite dictatorship. We have a lot to learn. So thank you for your open minds and your love this morning.
Thank you, Temple and Nawaz. The basket will now be passed. For those in the sanctuary, as the basket is passed, please feel free to offer a donation or see the card in the basket being passed for other ways to give. For those online, go to emersonuu.org and select the Giving tab to donate. All donations, unless otherwise specified, are shared equally between Emerson and our partner organization.
Before we begin our Children of All Ages, I was asked to give an Emerson moment. I'm Greg Hebert, and the Emerson moment is to prepare us for our stewardship launch March 9th. My wife Claudia and I, our youngest daughter Molly, came to this wonderful church in 2006, and I forget sometimes how wonderful this is until you lose it. And so I had two daughters move back to Atlanta, and we decided to move from Marietta to downtown. And we thought we would save gas and be good stewards of the earth by going to UUCA. And we tried to jump in as much as we could, but after not too long, we realized that there was no one at the front door like Millie and her welcoming committee. And they have a fine choir, but they don't have Kathy Middleman and Bruce King. So we never fit in and realized that while it can be a challenge to get to Emerson sometimes, we think it's well worth the drive and sacrifice. We are at a time in the world of tremendous chaos and shock from many of the actions of our government and his appointees in taking, especially regarding the attacks on LGBTQ communities and the arts, the science, and any organization that's made a stand for diversity, equity, and inclusion. Emerson's very mission and vision is to build beloved community that is radically inclusive, and I couldn't be prouder of what we stand for and the values we are committed to living and protecting. We need not think alike to love alike, and it cannot be taken for granted. Yes, love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is our sacrament, and service is our guide and prayer. And we must embrace and manifest these in our coming together here and carry them back to our homes, our workplaces, and wherever we have an opportunity to be community with and for others. We are about to launch our stewardship campaign in March. The stakes could not be higher that we come together not just in our commitment to our values, but also in our collective courage to invest in Emerson. It's expensive to heat and cool this building, and we need to pay our staff and minister just and fair wages. If this place is important, and I believe it's never been more important, we must stand in word and deed to financially support the vibrancy of Emerson. I've said this before, that my aspiration in life is that I live long and well enough so that on that last day of life, my bank account is nearly empty. And I call that giving back strategy. To embrace this simple notion that not if, but when we die, we take nothing with us and inevitably lose, and what we through generosity and virtue give to others, we make a ripple in the lives of others and the lives that we leave behind. There are no U-Hauls behind the hearses. And it is sad that so many people put so much importance in stuff, while incredible affirming research and our intuition tells us what matters most is what gives us lasting joy and happiness is not our stuff, but the quality and the intimacy of our relationships. Building a vibrant, beloved community here at Emerson depends upon the abundance of giving back in one's time, talent, treasure, compassion, care, concern, appreciation, encouragement, and forgiveness. They say that hell might be defined as the last day of your life, and the person you have become, gets to meet the person you could have become. Giving back is a key strategy to ensure that instead of that day being hell, it's heaven, because the person you aspired to be was the same person you became. I believe that giving back may be one of the most important transformational strategies we can ever take in our lives. Thank you.
Hello, hello, am I on? Can you hear me? Yes. I think it's on. Can you hear me? No, you can't hear me? Hello, hello, testing, testing, testing. Hello, hello. Just have to talk right into it. All right, all right. Well, say, hold on. Hello, hello. I guess I'll talk into my chest. Today's story is about a dog, and it's inspired by this dog. I thought I'd show you a picture of her first. So it's a real actual dog. The story is called Bayo. Larry lived in a neighborhood in a house all by himself, and he liked it that way. One day, Larry looked out the window at the house next door and saw a dog sitting there all alone, staring at him. He wasn't much of a dog person, but he looked back at the dog for a moment longer before turning back to his computer. He spent most of his time on his computer. His job required him to be on his PC during work hours, and then he usually scrolled social media or played video games when his work was done. He had watched the previous day as the people who rented the house next door seemed to be packing up to move. There had been at least 3 people living there, Larry guessed, and it appeared they were all leaving in quite a rush. One last box had been packed, and they all left. Larry was trying very hard to notice that they had left their dog behind. He hadn't seen anyone come and take care of her. No food, no water. Oh, well, Larry thought, not my problem. Somebody will come for that dog, I'm sure. And he went back to his computer. Later that day, a car pulled up next door. A man got out that Larry knew was the landlord of the house. The man took out his phone and was close enough to Larry's house so he heard what he said. "You people owe me 3 months' rent, and it looks like you've moved out. If you leave me hanging on the rent, you'll be very sorry." He looked in the backyard and saw the dog and added, "The first thing I'm going to do is call animal control and have this animal mongrel you left in the backyard destroyed if you don't contact me within the hour." The man fumed back to his car and left. Larry started worrying more about the dog. He didn't think what he overheard was fair. That guy wouldn't really have that dog put down, would he? But an hour later, he saw an animal control truck cruising through the neighborhood, and it stopped on his street. Larry dashed out the back door and went to the gate in back of a neighboring yard. "Hey," he whispered, "come here, dog. I got to get you out of there. Come with me." And he led her right into his own yard and into his house. Larry saw the animal control people entering the yard, but they left after seeing the open back gate, figuring the dog must have escaped. Larry looked at the big brown dog sitting very politely and wondered what he had just done. That was when he noticed the tag she wore said B-E-O. B-O? He said, unsure. No response from the dog. How about Bayo, he offered, and the dog stood, lifted her head a few inches, and let out a soft howl. Woo! Well, I think we have a winner. Bayo it is then. He stroked the dog's fur as she panted and looked at him contentedly. He took her to PetSmart and got her a bowl, a leash, and some food. "I don't have a fence like the neighbors do, so I guess I'll have to walk you until I figure out what to do with you." The next morning, Larry clipped the leash to Bayo's collar and headed out the door. He saw kids on the street with parents waiting for the bus. "Oh, must be first day of school," he said to himself. On the side of the next street, he saw a father with his daughter, who was clearly upset. She was looking down at the ground, and her father had his hand on her back and was speaking to her in a soothing way. Larry thought, "Oh, she must be nervous about the first day. I remember that first day of school. That can be very scary." And he began to hustle by the pair and continue the walk. But Bayo had other ideas. "What's up, Bayo?" Larry said as he felt himself being halted by the large dog. He turned to look and saw her staring right at the little girl and her father. Then, to Larry's horror, she started to go toward them. "No, Bayo. Stop, Bayo. Heel, Bayo." But she acted as if she couldn't hear him. The father saw them approaching and smiled good-naturedly. Larry, not very used to talking to other people, said, "I'm sorry, this dog is new to me and I'm not sure why." But then he watched as Bayo approached the little girl, hunkered down, and she reached her front paws toward her. The little girl lifted her head. Larry saw bright, shiny tears had been rolling down her cheeks. But she stopped the moment she saw Bayo. "I think my dog wants to say hi to you. Is that okay?" he asked the father, who nodded happily. "You want to say hi to the doggy?" he asked his daughter. She began to smile as she reached out to pet her head. Bayo's tail began to wag as she crept a little closer to the girl, who giggled a little. She stared into the little girl's eyes, which had stopped crying and now were filled with delight. "Nice doggy," she said quietly as she stroked Bayo's fur, a huge smile now on her face. After a few minutes, the dog stood and went back to Larry. "Oh, okay then, I guess her work is done here." He chuckled a little as he watched the little girl do the same. "Thank you," the father said gratefully as they left. Larry watched the girl now, looking up at her father, still smiling and talking all about what had just happened, clearly no longer worrying. "Wow, Bayo," he said to the dog, who had resumed walking like it was just her job to make sad people feel better, and it was no big deal. "You really cheered that little girl up. That was amazing." He wondered if anyone else might benefit from Bayo's ability. So he walked her wherever he could, and every time they went somewhere, she would find someone that she would walk up to and just wait for them to notice her. As soon as they saw her, everyone always came over to pet her. They would often say they were having a tough day for one reason or another, and that Bayo's presence made everything seem okay. Larry always thought he didn't like people and that people didn't like him, but he was wrong. He realized there were nice people everywhere, and some just need a little lift. He started going to a hospital where kids with cancer were receiving treatments and stuck in bed. Every one of them loved being visited by Larry and Bayo. The nurses and doctors thanked him every time he came. They told him that the best days in the ward were always the Bayo days, as they'd started to call them. A few weeks later at home, Larry heard a knock on his front door. The man there looked familiar to him. "Hi," he said. "I used to live next door, and I've been looking for my dog. We left in kind of a hurry, and I couldn't take her then. I thought maybe..." And then Bayo walked to the front door. "Oh, there she is. Thank you for looking after her. I'll just take her now, thanks." Larry watched as the man clipped a leash onto Bayo's collar and started to walk away. Larry was thunderstruck. All of his days since he met Bayo had been so much better, and he didn't know how he was going to let her go. Still, he knew she wasn't really his dog, so he watched as they walked away down his front walk. Larry's head fell down, and he felt tears begin to roll down his cheeks, and remembered the little girl, the first person that Bayo had helped, and felt like he knew how sad she must have been because he felt it now. Bayo had replaced his feelings of isolation, had helped him connect with so many others, had completely changed his opinion of other people, and made him very happy. It won't be the same without her, he thought, and began to turn away to go back inside. Just then, he heard Bayo howl. "Woo!" He looked up and saw the man trying to get the dog into the car, but Bayo had other ideas. No matter how hard the man tugged, he could not get her into the car. She began to pull the man back toward Larry. Yeah, this is the happy part. When they got back to the front door, Bayo hunkered down at Larry's feet and stared at him. "Gosh," the man said, exasperated. I didn't know there was an elephant in this story. When they got back to the front door, Bayo hunkered down at Larry's feet and stared at him. "Gosh," the man said, exasperated. "I don't think she wants to go with me. Say, I don't really have time for a dog, to tell you the truth. You wouldn't want to keep her, would you?" Larry really knew how that little girl had felt since Bayo was here now to cheer him up. He was thrilled and hugged Bayo's neck, and they went back inside. He was very glad to have her back because the next day was Bayo Day at the kids' ward, and he had been wondering what he would tell the staff and children who had come to depend on their visits. Larry was even happier when he realized that every day at his house from now on would be Bayo Day. All right, shall we sing our song of dedication?
Good morning. My name is Ann Mason, and I'm a member of the Social Justice Leadership Team. This is the time now for some quiet meditation. Today's meditation is going to be a visualization, and it's based on a practice developed by Jose Silva. So I invite you to sit comfortably in your chairs. Put your hands in your lap or on your knees, wherever is comfortable for you. Back straight, shoulders relaxed. You can close your eyes or soften and lower your gaze. So let's just begin by taking 3 deep breaths. Inhale completely, filling your abdomen, your diaphragm, your lungs. And at the top, hold it for a few seconds. And then when you're ready, release that breath completely, emptying your lungs, your diaphragm, your abdomen. And at the bottom of your exhalation, hold for a few seconds. Okay, do this 2 more times. Being aware of your breath as you inhale and as you exhale. Of the cool air coming in through your nostrils and the warm air going out. Now, when you're ready, breathe normally and comfortably. We live in a troubled world. This world needs our help, and there is so much work to do. Using your imagination, picture a blank screen, like the one behind me or one in a movie theater. Think of an area of today's world that troubles you and project that onto the screen. What does this look like? Give it color. What does it feel like? Give it texture. Open your heart to it. Now let that image fade to a deep blue and move it off to the right and let it go. Now we have a new blank screen coming in from the left. Imagine what you would like the situation to look like instead of the troubling situation you just visualized. Don't worry about how you're going to make it happen. Just visualize what you would like to see. The best situation that you can. Give it color and lots of detail. And open your heart to it. Now surround this image in a golden light and let it move off to the right as you think to yourself, this or something even better now manifests in totally harmonious ways for all concerned. Take a deep breath in. Exhale. Open your eyes. Keep your heart open. Namaste.
Good morning. I'm Mary Miller, and I am a member of the Social Justice Leadership Team. In 2020, as COVID lockdown began, I was navigating some big changes. First, what did lockdown mean for me, who had traveled for a living for 30 years? I had also badly broken my femur and was recovering from that. So much of our life had been focused on raising our kids. We homeschooled, and both kids were very involved in the theater and many activities. But by then, my daughter had just finished college, and my son was still at KSU. They really didn't need us that much anymore. Our homeschooling parent community had drifted apart as our kids moved on. We like to think of ourselves as people who did nice things, but to be honest, we were mostly focused on ourselves and our friends. What changed my life? May 25th, 2020. The face of Derek Chauvin as he murdered George Floyd shocked me to my core. The way he stared at the phone filming him, the belligerence and the arrogance. "You got a problem with this?" he seemed to say. Why didn't Michael Brown's murder in Ferguson hit me like that? Eric Garner's, Trayvon Martin's? I do not know. When is the right time? And what is the right thing? At that moment, I decided that I was an activist, out of the blue. It was very uncomfortable because who did I think I was, right? At the time, I had no idea what I meant by being an activist. But there had been a shift. The shift the Buddhists describe when a person moves from a place of "I am suffering" to "there is suffering." Buddhists call this the awakening of bodhicitta, or the mind-heart. And Rumi says, as you start to walk on the way appears. I remember hunting for things to do, efforts in which to get involved. In the wake of George Floyd, exhausted Black women would be asked on podcasts by white women what they could do. The answer, of course, boiled down to time and money. And one said, "For God's sake, no more book clubs." Well, we decided to keep on with the book club that we had started. But I continued to search and get involved. And I will say that reading The New Jim Crow opened my eyes like no other book, so no regrets there. Then in 2022, something else happened. In my city, Kennesaw, Georgia, one of our city councilmen announced that he was stepping down in frustration and protest over Wildman's Civil War surplus being granted a new business license. When you leave the interstate and drive down Cherokee Street to downtown Kennesaw, you immediately see Wildman's as Cherokee approaches South Main and North Main. Your introduction to downtown Kennesaw is a decrepit building with a display of Confederate battle flags and a sign that states, White History Year. Wildman's store is a textbook example of indecency. Since the store opened in 1971, the store has been a stain on my city. A Klan robe and noose displayed prominently, alongside insulting Jim Crow imagery and racist jokes that are presented as though they are meant to be funny. Near them, there is a display of Nazi paraphernalia with Nazi flags for sale. It is racism for profit, emboldening hatred and bigotry. In January of 22, Wildman had died, and the city granted the store a brand new business license. I spoke at that city council meeting, as did several other community members. One of the speakers gathered us together, and we started to try to figure out why the city is so stuck, swimming in a sea of racism that is so hard for the old guard to see. As this group gathered and worked, brainstormed and researched together, magic happened. There was energy, creativity, and love. It was something that we could try to do to make our city better. And it was very frustrating. Why does our city diligently enforce its ordinances and codes for most city businesses, but protects the one business that celebrates white supremacy, romanticizes the Confederacy and the Ku Klux Klan, and treats many of our friends and neighbors with hostility, mocking and belittling them? And here it was again. I had lived in Kennesaw for 25 years at that point. The question once again must be asked, why didn't I do anything earlier? Again, it was that confluence of events and people that opened my eyes and heart. It made something that was merely scenery before become a focal point of my life. Our own Richard Schoenberg from the Buddhist group shared with me this Martha Postlethwaite poem that said, "Do not try to save the whole world or do anything grandiose. Instead, create a clearing in the dense forest of your life and wait there patiently until the song that is your life falls into your own cupped hands and you recognize it and greet it. Only then will you know how to give yourself to this world so worthy of rescue." Wildman's and those people had fallen into my cupped hands. Like a song? Well, I don't know about that, but that is what happened. And I felt meaning and purpose and love like never before. Soon after we started that effort, the Cobb County Democracy Center, our Share the Basket partner that month, had come to Emerson. Dr. Ben Williams, the then president of the Cobb Southern Christian Leadership Conference, graciously let me ask of him his advice. He had been involved in civil rights work for decades, and he was surprised and bemused at our little Kennesaw group. I told him we would be going to city council meetings and speaking, and that it was very intimidating as they were mad at us now. He looked amused and said, "Oh, are they mad at you?" And that made us both laugh. He talked about how hard it is to make changes like these. He said, "Remember, it took 10 long years of effort for Civil Rights Act to be signed." And then he said something I never forgot. He said, "How will you sustain each other?" In the Fellowship of the Ring, L. Ron knew that it takes a fellowship to do the hard things, a fellowship who understands that it's important to find ways to sustain each other. So we gathered together and we spoke at the meetings. We held a demonstration. We worked on elections so the city council would actually represent its constituency. We had events to encourage welcoming and inclusivity in the city of Kennesaw, including a peace march with Emerson choir members singing and walking. We supported the creation of a mural with the theme of everyday people on the building next to Wildman's, featuring 2 young black kids looking right up at the Confederate flags on that building next door. And now there is a property rights lawsuit in play. Meanwhile, and in conjunction with this, during COVID lockdown, I decided to seek out a Buddhist group. I found Emerson and Ann Mason, a long-lost friend, and the amazing social justice leadership team. It's a group that asks the big questions. How can we meet this moment to be of most use? What can we do? What helps? What matters? How do we sustain each other? As Mark Van Buren muses in one of our Buddhist readings, imagine what the world would be like if each one of us were to wake up every morning with the intention to ease suffering, help others, and spread joy. Living in this way not only offers meaning to our own lives, but also gives us the courage to keep an open heart in the face of tremendous suffering and the strength to keep going, regardless of how hard things may get. And I've had several folks approach me and say, I can't do what you all do. It seems that for some folks, there is a big misunderstanding of what it is that we actually do. So what does activism look like? Is it defiantly holding up a sign during a city council meeting that says, take the KKK out of Kennesaw? Is it standing in Marietta Square with a sign that says, ceasefire, or immigrants make America great? Sure it is. But what else might it look like? Sometimes it looks like quietly carrying in a bag of food every week that would feed a family a nutritious dinner and placing it in the food barrel. Sometimes it looks like visiting an immigrant family who is stuck at home during Christmas break with no car, no TV, and no computer, and taking them ice skating. Sometimes it looks like taking a few minutes to respond to legislation designed to cause harm to LGBTQAI+ siblings and write a note to committee members or to make a 5-minute phone call urging them to vote no. Sometimes it involves feeding unhoused people breakfast, gathering the food and showing up at 5:30 a.m. one day a month to cook and serve breakfast to over 100 people. Sometimes it looks like driving down to Lumpkin, Georgia, where the ICE detention center, the for-profit Stewart Detention Center, is located. At a nearby house, El Refugio, volunteers clean, cook, serve food for family members visiting their loved ones, and sometimes actually visiting the detained as well. Sometimes it looks like founding a nonprofit to help address concerns about policing in our local community. Sometimes it looks like assembling Plan B kits, including pregnancy tests and contraceptives, looking for businesses who are willing to be distribution centers for those in need with no questions asked. Sometimes it looks like showing up to school board meetings to bear witness to a tribunal of a teacher who was fired simply for reading a book that merely acknowledges the existence of a gender-fluid child. Sometimes it looks like translating for a refugee or asylum seeker. Those actions are all of our Emerson family. In the words of Greg Hebert, in a time of immense distress and adversity for our country and world, it is so important to Emerson's efforts to build true, beloved community. We must at once see and act. In this world today, it is tough to see because seeing threatens despair. We must overcome the despair of seeing and have the strength to act. That is what Emerson is for. A place to cradle and comfort those who are brave enough to look and see and bear witness. And having been comforted from the despair and given the strength to act, provides then a community with which to experience and express the joy that comes out of that acting together. In the words of Joanna Hedva in her extraordinary book on disability and ableism, she says, "The spark to light the flame of our conviction is hard to keep lit because so much of activism can feel like the opposite of action. It's a lot of little labors that are invisible but necessary." There are many Emersonians who do these invisible little and often big labors to build this beloved community. Some care for the grounds, some care for this building. There are many, many committees, the board, and the minister. The really tough jobs, like Emerson's treasurer, that give us a home, a sanctuary. And sometimes that's what activism looks like. And sometimes it looks like caring for a sick or injured friend or family member. Sometimes it looks like loving, raising, and teaching our children. Sometimes it looks like being mindful of consumption. And sometimes it is building community, stability, and inspiration and joy through song. Sometimes that's what activism looks like. And so, I encourage you to create a clearing in the dense forest of your life. Respond to the song that is your life as it falls into your own cupped hands. Recognize it, greet it, and join us as we support each other, as we give ourselves to this world so worthy of rescue. Thank you. Please rise as we embody your voice, as we sing our song, 131, Love Will Guide Us.
Hello, I'm Karen Anderson Cordova, and I am also another member of the Social Justice Leadership Team. We're running a little kind of late, so I'll make it really brief. Some announcement. Please see the back of your order of service for second hour activities. I won't list them, but there are a few. There's really a lot of stuff going on today in second hour, so hope you can join one of these. And don't forget Waldo's Coffee House next Saturday, featuring Blackfoot Daily and our own Mario Tosto opening. And Michael Lukens would like to say something as well. Thank you.
Okay, I waited until it was the right time to come up this time. So a couple of announcements for the families here and also for the adults. This Saturday is our Minute to Win It Championship, so get signed up. Saturday at 7 o'clock here, we'll be upstairs. All right, also parents and family members and teachers, we are doing our next in-service. We are doing a breath work and wellness for parents and educators, and our very own Elon Gesper-Dales will be teaching us that. So it is a great technique to take home that you can learn to work with your kids. It is March 8th on Saturday from 10 to 11. Please sign up. Grandparents and parents, you are welcome to come.
My name is Arlene Greasy, and I'm a member of the Social Justice Leadership Team. Thank you, Meredith Morgan, for extinguishing our chalice. We extinguish this chalice, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts and out into the world until we are together again.
Last thing, folks. Today we close the service with these words from George Bernard Shaw. This is the true joy in life, the being used for a purpose, recognized by yourself as a mighty one, the being a force of nature instead of a feverish, selfish little clod of ailments and grievances, complaining that the world will not devote itself to making you happy. I am of the opinion that my life belongs to the whole community, and as long as I live, it is my privilege to do for it whatever I can. I want to be thoroughly used up when I die, for the harder I work, the more I live. I rejoice in life for its own sake. Life is no brief candle for me. It is sort of a splendid torch, which I have got hold of for this moment, and I want to make it burn as brightly as possible before handing it on to future generations. Go now in peace and take peace wherever you go. Thank you.